So we are back, and I just went live again on both my channels, just so this is a separate recording along with being part of the 24-hour before Teslatech live stream. And we're just going to highlight a couple things right now. For instance, we got the Alchemist cartoon minions. But who cares about the freaking cartoons in life or the fake homunculus? And yes, that reminds me. Disclaimer. And this is my disclaimer that I am going to start my Teslatech presentation with. And that is, this is not for the weak of heart, and especially not for the weak-minded. Alchemy encases all aspects of science and consciousness and spirituality. And this specific lesson and course is the opposite side of the witchcraft, the angels, the demons, and the rest of the occult and esoteric. It, in fact, is trying to take it to the most physical science and fundamental electrochemistry and electrolysis that, well, the ancients knew about and developed, and they took it very seriously. And that is what this, my goodness, discretion, viewer discretion, and warning with this lesson is that every single one of the ancient alchemical texts that I deciphered and learned this information and decoded it from starts out with sharing this information publicly to the uninitiated will be automatically punished by death. Okay, so this is classified science, and they took it very serious, as should you, because the 7 color transmutational states of metal elements, well, it's not talking about, well, the sulfur state, the yellow sulfur state. It's not saying that you transmutated whatever metal element into sulfur. No, that's a bit ridiculous. But it is saying it's in this yellow sulfur family of the octave chemistry harmonics. And when you have it in this yellow state, they say it is when you kill the spirit of your process. Okay, and what are they talking about? Well, they're talking about how it's live with electricity, so that clearly they all used to have electricity and fully understand electricity, and that's when it's live. And when you kill it, it gets this yellow state. And what is this yellow state? What is the red state that they call mercury? Well, no, I'm not saying the metals, this copper, didn't transmutate into red mercury. No, it's in the red state, just like there's the blue state. And what they are combinations of oxygen, but more importantly, hydrogen, and hydrogen compounds, and hydrogen isotopes, and hydrogen ions. And if you truly understand that, and what these are, and what the yellow state is, okay, I'm pretty sure Bob Lazar's needs his particle accelerator to make his hydride. Yeah, that's a yellow compound. of hydrogen. Okay. Also, what did the Chinese recently do? Oh yeah, they tested a new hydrogen bomb, not a nuclear, or sorry, not fission or fusion hydrogen, but it was a yellow hydride compound, or maybe it was the even higher hydrogen in the red compound state. Okay, if you're actually understanding what I'm saying and what this knowledge really is, and what the ancients knew and how they engineered it, and now so can you when you learn Bernard's alchemy course. And I am Bernard, the immortal alchemist. I know I'm immortal because I have come back again. The last time I lived, Bernard the alchemist was alive for 400 years. Since I was a very young child, I always knew this life, I'm going to live 400 years because that's what Bernard the alchemist does. Here we have the pink crystalline state. You're looking at some silver pendulums in the pink state shining in the crystal. There's also some gold that's also in the pink state, and copper, all in the crystalline pink state. So it's not electroplating. No, it is them all activating into the pink crystalline state that the physics godfather, Sir Isaac Newton, yes, this is his alchemy writings that were classified for a couple hundred years. And, well, I figured, hey, people took him serious. I take alchemy serious. And every frickin' single text says you will be killed if you share this stuff with the public. There's got to be a reason for it. Well, that's then why I did. We have aerogels, supposedly the stuff all those orbs are made out of. Okay, aerogels. Shout out Joshua Bertrand, UFO whistleblower, came forward a couple years ago with me, an alien scientist, showed us all the Chinese patents of the plasma orb aerogel drones. And I showed him my aerogel, and he was like, Bernie, you're the first person to make that public, to actually reproduce it. I was like, sweet. And then I've developed it more to make it out of multiple different metal elements and can repeat the process with any and all. So, another very, very important disclaimer when working with electrolysis specifically is that, well, many people are just like, oh, Bernie, you're crazy. You're making stuff up. You'd be dead. No, I'm not a fucking idiot. And I like being alive. And when I made nuclear reactive materials, I did it 10 years ago. I did it once. I got really sick. I realized what I did. I didn't cross that threshold again. While making hydrogen constantly. It's always on in front of Bert and Ernie, or behind Bert and Ernie. It's literally on right now. You can see. Look at that. Water turning into hydrogen and oxygen. But I've been doing it for 15 years and haven't blown myself up. Going constantly in my basement. But it's because I'm not a fucking idiot and I don't cross the threshold of going above 5 volts. Okay, and just so happens that Bob Grenier on his Demystify Psi interview podcast this past week disclosed that it is exactly 5 volts that is the threshold for low energy nuclear reactions in electrolysis reactors. So it's like I just instinctively was at that threshold where I can make the, well, anything nuclear, but I don't intentionally, because I don't use heavier compound elements intentionally, even though I know that they're exponentially more efficient in battery cells. Okay, but I don't do it in my process because I did it once before and it left some nuclear decay. So I don't do that at home and I don't talk about it. But I definitely know what's going on. And there you go. That's plugged into 5 volts. Yet it's producing less hydrogen than my other reactor outside that had no electricity going into it. Okay, so I have engineered the electrolysis reactors to put out more hydrogen, more energy without any electrical energy input going in than what your standard 5 volts going in with coils and tungsten electrodes. Actually, there's a carbon, iron, and a tungsten electrode on there. So again, the purpose of running those at 5 volts, the threshold, specifically tungsten and carbon on the electrodes at the 5 volts, the threshold, is because that's where you collect your DT for your DT fusion. Now, amazing synchronicity, just 2 days ago, Los Alamos Labs came out and they said, oh, we just found this successful, and they refer to it as DT, that is deuterium tritium fusion, cold fusion. Okay, they found, well, first they found a paper referring to it from the 1980s, but the 1980s paper was referring to the original experiments in 1932. So, DT fusion, cold fusion, deuterium tritium production, specifically when you're working with tungsten and carbon. And well, the higher voltage you go up, obviously exponentially more reactions you have on it. But you just run it at that 5 volts. And it just takes a little longer. Because if you put in 10 volts, that extra threshold, just doubling it, is a lot more hydrogen that comes out, especially when you do more and more and more, and you risk exploding. So you don't want to do that. And, and then it's like you touch the oxides, they will go into your skin. Any of these nanoparticles absorb into your skin, your eyes, you ingest them, they're going straight into you. And that's going to turn you into a smurf and kill you. So is that. So is that and that. Pretty much everything except for, here's the irony, as the immortal alchemist always will do, the one with the X, well, that's actually the one that won't kill you, the pure white monoatomic. Get some actual light on it. Hey, here we go. It's actually white, pure white. But here's the thing. There's two different types of white nanomaterial. And there's the mana, but there's also what they call the white alchemical state of transmutation. They call it the calcium. Okay, they call it the calcium state, the white state. Again, I'm not saying metals are transmutating into calcium. They are, in fact, extreme. That is the extreme decay, and it's known as alchemical decay, and it burns. Literally, it's when you get into that white nano hard state. There's so much hydrogen, it's so acidic, it will literally burn through anything. And that will harm you. And it's because anything that is still a nano solid, aka a colloidal. All right, so here we go. Here's the lesson. The difference in nano material. Okay, the difference between what is an ormus and what is a nano solid or a colloidal. Because the colloidal, nano solid, that will turn into a heavy metal poison and kill you and harm you. You do not want that. But it does have a lot of metamaterial special properties. Just it has to be treated in the right way. So you see, we got that and that. Now we're going to shake these up. These are both silver, off the same coins. All right. Oops. Now, very crucial. You can see the nanocrystal is actually more suspended than the fluffy ormus. And it's sparkling more because it's got crystals in it. And the ormus is fluffy like snow. And that's your monatomic versus your monomolecule colloidal. But this right here, this is true liquid silver. Okay, there's a few different liquid silver interpretations, and they are all correct. To the public, it is mercury. To the initiated, it is another metal. But to the adept alchemist, this is true liquid silver right here. And why is that? It's because it does some crazy exclusion zone activities, and I believe it's turned into a liquid crystal through self-organization, and by being a liquid crystal, it's giving an energy density to the solution as if it can react, as if it's a gas, as if it's boiling, or a solid, as if it's frozen into ice, but it is in the liquid state. You're not having to lose or gain, put in the energies of the phase shift to activate. It's in a cold, suspended state. Thus, the liquid crystal. Higher energy interaction density, but at a lower stable energy state. So now you can start to see the exclusion zone form at the very top of water of the solution of the liquid crystals. Colloidal nano silver versus the Armis, the monoatomic silver. Okay, and as you can see, it's not blue. This right here, that is oxidized silver. That will kill you. You do not want to touch it. But you can use the water, aka silver oxide, for disinfecting. Very, very powerful disinfectant. One of the strongest. Simple, very effective. Part of what the ancient alchemists used to do. They were masters of nanotechnology. Understanding how elements and how phase shift fusion actually works. There's your fluffy, pure white cloud monoatomic metals. And it's that I've turned 15 at least, probably more. I think I only name 15. I intentionally don't name other ones that I've successfully done, for instance, because of the nuclear decay that came with it, both manganese and magnesium. Bismuth was all right, though. Okay. Now we are going to show outside in the studio. So I got clothes for days. Literally, all gonna be on sale on HowTube coming soon. We got BurnCon, right? Breakthrough Energy Research Network online conference. No, that's an R in there. That's BurnCon. Yeah, that's just how she goes. The ultimate transmutation of self from BurnCon to BurnCon. Here we have my old record label, which I will be launching again in the next year. Up North Records. Look for DJ Bernie Slanders coming out of Up North Records. Got some more BurnCon, right? So, right, it's so graffitied out that Wild Style. I think most people are just gonna be like, "Wow, you got BurnCon merch already?" I'll be like, "Yeah, printed it myself." And then it's like, that's the con. It's actually cron. Right? Just some wizard shit. Just some wizard shit. All of these will be for sale on HowTube coming September. Horrible lighting. Hold on. Hold on. What am I doing? Freaking flailing here. Could have been changing the lights from a clicker this whole time. Need to remember that I have these. There we go. We got white lights. We can see. All right, kind of see. I'm gonna be able to see this guy. Oops. Yeah, maybe that works better with white. Maybe that click was just fate. There we go. It's a Ghostbuster, dude. Ghostbusters. And you got BC, baby. because we burn chrome. This is my very first logo I ever made. This is how Burn Cron came to be. I was like, DC? Fuck that. It's BC, baby. Burn Cron. Exports Canada. BC is how it all started. Ooh, and then we got Keep Calm. Burn Cron. Keep Calm, Burn Cron, baby. But see, I also print my stuff myself, so do some cool things. This one actually glows in the dark. I do several others, but that's for a show when I just do shirts. And as always, you gotta have honor in life. That's my other clothing line. And emote. Oh, I'm not out. Okay. Sorry, I thought I was out, but I'm not. But I should be outside. Okay. Oh snap! It's raining. We got rain. Holy, it's gonna rain. All right, so here we have some examples of just how easy and cheap and reproducible anyone can turn water and salt and scrap metal into hydrogen fuel, but also into different aerogels. And I should have got it on camera earlier. Actually, I didn't record it, just not on stream because I wasn't thinking. But you can see this foam here. And the foam happens whenever I put a drop of blood in. And that's my own genetic monomolecule that forms off the cathode side paired with the atomic hydrogen. And as soon as the drop of blood enters, that is what starts to form and continues to form. And that is what you coat your nano-coated geometry and triple solenoid coils in with your own monomolecule made from blood, and then it is your plasma resonant signature that is being broadcast out of the plasma electromagnetic field of the coils, and you're fully interacting with it. One of the very basic beginning knowledge teachings of Macron Keshi. This science, though, first confirmed by the Nazis before World War II and then never spoken about since. One of the many magics of electrochem, the alchem, electrolysis, alchemy. Now, I don't even have this plugged in right now. I'm impressed. I thought it was, but no, this isn't plugged in. It's still going crazy. Like, it's foaming away. And yeah, we got the plug. So it's just 3 plastic jars now, or cups. We got Wendy's. Wendy's, sponsor me. Come on. Starving Bernard here. But the circuitry, you got saltwater batteries. Basically, you got saltwater batteries and hydrogen production, electrolysis reactors, both out of scrap metal, salt, and plastic cups. This guy, we got iron center, then it's a welding coated in carbon, lots of carbon electrodes, eh? Then I got aluminum foil around it. I got a copper solenoid around it. So that right there, those 3 metals And the fact that you've got a copper solenoid with an iron ferrite core, carbon in between, and aluminum in between, that creates a pretty large differential of battery uh, charge. Yeah, like that's literally how it goes. So each electrode then turns into both an anode and cathode all in itself, and thus operating. And then when you wire them together, they work even better. And you can see that this guy right here, foaming a lot more, bubbling a lot more than the 5 volts that's running inside the house. This with no electricity going to it whatsoever. So we shall plug it in and see the difference. And it probably won't even be noticeable because of all the foam and because it's kicking out monoatomics. So you can't really see the bubbling. No, it's too dark. Yeah, so you don't want to touch this shit because it'll absorb. You'll get heavy metal poisoning. You don't want that. But you do want that foam made from the blood. But I wouldn't recommend doing it in this chemical reaction. I'd recommend doing it regularly with just silver or preferably just gold when you're imprinting your bio monomolecule onto something. You want those. But I am the crazy immortal alchemist and a full metal alchemist. So be careful, y'all. Don't try it at home. You might poison yourself. So here we have, you can see the wavelengths actually in it. And it's an activated copper state of water, just like I was showing liquid silver earlier. This is activated crystalline nano copper, and it's the same uh, liquid crystal suspended self-organizing properties of a higher energy density. And interesting stuff. And it'll stay like that. It'll stay suspended for about 3 days when activated before it fully comes down. So here you can see it also bubbling and foaming off of the aluminum sheet. Connected to that guy. So no reaction in this jar or cup, even though it is currently plugged in. So I'm going to take this aluminum tungsten. So we got tungsten welding rods in the center of this one. Aluminum foil, aluminum coil. And we're putting it in here. Oops. Suddenly, it's going to get more active. There we go. So you want to make sure the electrodes are not touching because then they short themselves out and you don't get the differential between them. Key part of understanding how these saltwater battery systems work. And we're going to lift this guy up. Ooh, we got thunder. Ooh. Ooh, okay, all right, so right, so right. Unos momentos, por favor. Where's my... There we go. We got the turkey baster. We got the turkey baster. So you can see that it's not clear water. It's got that copper, crystal copper. Yeah. Okay, so you can see the pink, the copper is pink, as well as the tungsten is pink and red, and they are in that active pink and red states of what the alchemists call the transmutation states, metal elements. So I'm saying those are hydride compound for the red, and then the crystalline is literally a crystal structure, the purest structure that any metal element can become. Just as carbon can become a diamond, you can get copper, gold, and silver, diamond style crystals too. Let's see. Okay, again, so another thing to show here is the black. The black that is also both tungsten and copper in the black state of transmutational metals, what they call the carbon state. And that is a nano layering of these same metals. Oh, look at what we got now. Look at that foam going. Now that I added the extra electrode in, but again, oh wait, but bad, it is plugged in now. So by adding this extra electrode in, we're getting more foaming, even though I took the main. Oh, okay, I see. I still got it connected, so got it, got it. So yes, that's still plugged in. That's why it's foaming more. Oops. We got lightning and thunder, thunder baby. All right. So I try to keep each electrode separated by the insulated wires, preventing them from shorting out with each other. So there's the demo of the amount coming out once plugged in. And just to remind, when I came out, it had not been plugged in for several hours, was still producing, let's say, about 1/5 the amount that it is now. Why do I have a whole bunch of concentric circles? What's Bernie's next generation gonna be? We shall see. For those that know. Here we have aluminum in the red state. So there's aluminum in the pink and red state. Showing these what are called transmutational states, but they are in fact hydride and oxides, and then compounds. And then once in the crystalline state, the pink state is when Sir Isaac Newton states that one metal element can be transmutated from one to another. I fully believe him. I believe it has to do with just putting in that oscillation, that right resonant frequency of the element you're wishing to obtain, especially when you have electrolysis of atomic hydrogen being produced alongside that crystalline metal. You can get that full-on fusion. All right. See, look, we got monoatomics. That pure, fluffy white magic that all the pharaohs and the little gods and the kings and the alchemists for hundreds and actually thousands of years all spoke about and guarded this information with death. So, as returning the immortal alchemist Bernard, and by 40 years to 400, I give this back to humanity. Anyone can do it, so can you. You don't even need electricity. But it's really starting to pour. It's really starting to pour. It's really starting to pour. Ollie, is it gonna rain? It's gonna rain. So this one is the Ormus, the monoatomic. But this is the one they call calcium. And it's the nano. So there's the hydride that is acidic and disintegrating that they call calcium, but then there's also the nanoparticle that they refer to calcium as well, which is also toxic. So you don't want the nanoparticle, and you definitely don't want the white hydride, but you do want what they call mother's milk, God's semen, manna. I prefer monoatomic, that white powder right there. Okay, and yeah, you don't want to be Papa Smurf or any of those colors. That'll kill you. We got lightning. We got lightning. And you definitely do want that purple magic, the royal purple, when your white goes to purple. All right, now back to the show. All right, so on that note, we shall continue Weekend at Bernie's.
Crazy mother. Yeah.
It's just Bernie! Hey, Bernie, just like last week, huh?
Weekend at Bernie's.
All right, so this episode I dropped on the 4th of July. It's called Let There Be Light, the H-Bomb, and it was a Woo-Woo Wednesday on a Friday with my man Hans Dietrich. And it's brilliant. But I did drop some F-bombs with the H-bombs. That's okay. It's a good episode. Lots to learn. Oh, is the sound not working? It's because I can't hear it, so maybe you can't too. So we're gonna try to share again, just in case. Just in case. Well, all right. Hold on. Technical difficulty. Well, shit. At least it's still there, but I think it's gonna drop it. So I'm gonna need a couple more minutes. Don't go anywhere because you want to see the H-bomb episode, but she buffering, so just give me a minute, y'all. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
He's just burning! Hey, burning just like last week, huh?
Weekend at Bernie's.
Weekend at Bernie's. All right, we rocking it. We rocking it. They're looking good. We're gonna be selling these things. All right, so you're gonna go to HowTube. You're gonna be like, shit. You want a bear shirt? I am the bear. You know, it's just how we roll around here. You got the Burn Crawling Bear. Don't have to stare. I'm just the bear. I self-identify as a man bear unicorn. All right. So if you ever ask my preferences, I'm a man bear unicorn. I might be the ugliest type of unicorn, but I'm still a unicorn. And here we go. We got H-bomb. Let there be light. Welcome everybody. Happy Hangover America. It is the 5th of July. As well, it's the Friday night, Saturday early morning by the time we got to recording, and we are here with wonderful Hans Dietrich of our Woo Woo Wednesday, Thursday series, and that's Friday, Saturday. How are you? It's an annual thing now. It's the second year.
We did this last year.
Second donation
I was
of the
really
night. Or 24 hours.
tired and passed out on the set, but hey, you know,
Much
that's
love.
how it
Appreciate
goes.
Yanni.
Tonight, I didn't go out. I went out for sushi earlier, which was amazing. Went to my favorite spot, Hamano, here in Portland. Yeah, I just love the people that work there. I love the owner. It's a really small batch space. It's not very big, which is great because you know about sushi. Big restaurants will refreeze their fish, which makes it taste like
Well, Portland on the Pacific Coast, you
we
would
have some
expect fresh fish, right? If you go to the right spot.
I've eaten sushi around the world, and I will say the sushi here is amazing. So I'll just
There we go. Well, maybe this year's better than last year because, well, there we got Trump. Oh, I don't have the mug in focus, but he's like, Bernie, you're a great friend of mine. But yeah, so anyway.
Oh, I see that. Oh, shit.
Right? So I was trying to do the pun or the fun of well, we got Trump and we're not in World War III, so thank God for that. Maybe he can actually get peace in the Middle East and Ukraine. We will see. Who knows? But
Politics has many levels, and sadly, there's a lot of people that can make things happen that are opposing things to happen because, God, for some reason, all of us want war, and I'm
well, we don't want war. We elected Trump on a no war America first. So hopefully he's able to focus on America first with that big, beautiful bill. But we'll get out of the politics.
I'm politically homeless.
Right? Most of us are. And well, I'm looking forward to coming to America as a Canadian in 1 month's time.
Looking forward to coming to
exactly
America.
1 month to the date that I will be presenting at Teslatech in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Yay.
It's going to be one awesome time. And a lot of what I'm going to be covering, and a lot of what actually most of the presenters there are in the field of dealing with is the same hydrogen, water, electrolysis, plasma, transmutation, cold fusion science. And it's the best possible converging minds in the actual academic world of the science and technology that I'm working on. So I've been, practicing and putting together one epic presentation, and it starts with the key aspect of hydrogen and what is hydrogen and how much I've learned from hydrogen doing alchemy, well, my version in the lab, which is electrochemistry, but specifically electrolysis, is the breakdown of water, H2, two hydrogens, and oxygen, one oxygen. And that what we're looking at on the screen here is the hydrogen wave. Hot damn, I paused myself, but like, man, I can't even listen to myself without myself buffering. Like, shit, man. Buffering, burning, that ain't no good. Wave function probability charts, but it's more than charts. These are actual images from the most recent developed high-end electron microscopes. And what it shows, I see in it and understanding, is dimensional proportionality of valence shell distribution and the energy of it. And what I recently came up with in what I've called the misinterpretation of the double slit experiment, that a particle is... Oh, I thought it was on mic. All right, bam. I sound so good because I was like, I need to talk about this. I need to pause it, and then I already started talking about it, but I've rewritten it a little bit more since what I'm about to say. And the misinterpretation of the double slit experiment: a particle consists of concentric nested fields made up of coherent standing waves. What do I mean by that? I mean, you've got your field, so you have a particle, right? It's a particle, but really it's just a field made up of these coherent standing waves that are oscillating, that are standing there, and then they're nested within each other, just like a babushka doll, like boop, 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 boop. And that is your valence shells. And this wave probability field thing, yes, they are standing waves of fields. And that is what makes up your particle, not this imaginary spinning electron around the proton and the neutron. No, those don't exist. It's all fields of oscillating standing waves nested within each other. That's why it's all empty space, right? Nothing's solid, nothing's physical. Yes, because it's standing waves oscillating in coherence, making up nested fields within each other. And that's what you're seeing here. And the dimensionality of it with the 4, 3s, and 2s. And that's going to be a whole other presentation I'm going to do, hopefully with Sheila Raman. I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully. All right. Continue on with Let There Be Light. Is in fact a nested bunch of fields. So it's a field, but it's field within a field within a field. The concentric valence shell orbitals of the electrons are in fact the fields that are made up of coherent standing waves, which are the energetic, light waves that connect and make the bonds between molecules and densities of atoms and their structures. It's a completely new way of thinking and understanding of the electron and the proton and neutron, for that matter, the whole atom together. But what gives me absolute synchronicity and hope is the fact of, for those that have not yet watched the Dr. Wei-Ping Yu and PhD of NASA with he did just go with go with Terrence Howard and Wei-Ping Yu, meeting both of them. Going to be interviewing them in less than 1 week's time. Actually, it might be right at this time, 3:33 a.m. on a Saturday 1 week from now that I might be interviewing Terrence Howard, but it'll probably be early in the night. But he's with Wei Ping Yu. Wei Ping Yu and Terrence Howard, they're presenting one after another, and it's kind of a partnered thing they're doing. So I can't wait to talk to them about this and hopefully partner up with them because we's on the same level, y'all. They know what I'm talking about. Ashton Forbes on Tim Pool last week. That's a great episode.
Fuck you, Ashton, removing me from being a moderator.
From 2 months ago, he was with Terrence Howard, and they were on the DBP or PBD podcast. But point of it, as a rambling on here, why all of this matters, why it's all so relevant, is Terrence Howard and Dr. Wei Ping Yu of NASA Engineering and Theory of Everything Department will both be at Teslatech in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Presenting. They are the main headline presenters, where I get to do one-on-one interviews with them and setting up panels, discussions with them, and specifically Dr. Wei Ping Yu on the PBD podcast with Terrence Howard 2 months ago stated publicly for the first time, admitting that science for the last 100 years has completely got wrong the fundamental particle of the electron and the atom and how it all works, and that the model that I'm seeing, describing, and putting together is actually what I see it to be and understand it to be, and that well, we've now got the head of he's engineering propulsion, all right. So what it actually is, and this came to me right in the midst of my insanity. It always happens on the 3rd day that I'm awake straight, and when I was awake for 5 days because I was retarded, and we won't get into that, but here we go. This is a 1-dimensional atom. It's the wave. Okay, then you have the 2-dimensional. And these are the standing waves, okay? These are the standing waves together. You have your base vector, you have your heat vector, and you have your cold vector, and you have your neutral vector, and you have your electric vector, and you have your magnetic vector waves, okay? And they're standing together, and this is the 3rd-dimensional particle. And now you got them in their nested fields. You have entropy, you have cold magnetic polarization in the middle, you have heat expansion, hydrogen out on, well, you see it. You see it, now you know it. That's what it is. I'm sticking to it. It's genius. It's reality. But ties in with number 1. Number 1. Okay, so this is the source code. Everything is made up of, hold on. Oh, snap. Out on me. All right. So there's a little dot. There's a dot. There's a hole. And there's a line. All right. This is what everything is made up of. You have your dot, your hole, and a line. It's your 1-dimensional vector. Your starting point, where it's gold, right? And your neutral 1-dimensional vector of your travel from your start to your finish, the dot being that hot motion that you're traveling, right? So that's your number 1. Your number 1. And we have number 2. What's number 2? All right, well, you got one direction you move. You got 2 directions you move, right? So you got 1 vector, 2 vector, and the second vector also has 1 spin, and you got your 2. Boom. Your 2 vectors. Hot, going up, expanding, cold on the bottom, 2. That is your 2. Boom. Now, what's number 3? What is number 3? Well, 3 is 3 dimensions, but you have a full volume for the first time. So you have a full volume, and you've got 2 spins on 3 motions. And that, my friends, is the source code. And now you know. Now you know. You know. Deputy and then head of the theory of everything department of NASA, and he now holds this new papers on how the electron and the inner molecule function, what they are, and it's well, I'm not going to try misexplain or misquote him right now. He says a lot, but not too much about it on the previously mentioned podcast there with Terrence Howard. And I'm just very excited to have the opportunity to meet them in person and speak with them. And good question, MCM. And it's actually, that is a relevant question. It kills my soul a bit, but yes, Ken Wheeler, he's not the only one to get it because he states that constantly, but he has made a lot of rediscoveries of the ancients and new discoveries to today. And it is magnetism at the heart of the proton neutron. And that was specifically one thing, Dr. Wei-Ping, you did say on that podcast, is that the proton and the neutron are essentially 2 poles together that make up the center, and then the electron particle charge comes out of it in different ways. And so, yes, Ken Wheeler's magnetism has a very very relevant, very on point with a lot of it. And yeah.
I'm excited you're going to be going to this conference. You're going to meet a lot of people. You're going to network like crazy, and you're going to share your stuff. And this is magic. I just got back from Sedona doing a conference there. Never been to Sedona. Sedona is one of the most beautiful places I've been in a while. But wow, you drive from Phoenix to Sedona, and man, 4/5 of that drive is like the most desolate area you've ever gone through. I mean,
straight desert.
Oh, it's crazy. I mean, I lived in Alberta. Alberta's not even like that. That's what blew my mind. I'm like, oh my God, you're looking at rubble hills. But strangely, outside of Phoenix, there's a lot of hills that look like pyramids, and I'll just leave it at that. But Sedona was super amazing. Like new moon, I had the most amazing view of the sky. I took some great photos of the Milky Way and met some great people at the conference. I spoke about symbology. But speaking about symbology, looking at what you're sharing here, Bernie, wow. I've got a couple of questions about some of this. So
absolutely. First, shout out to Sedona and shout out to Sheila Rahman. She's from Sedona. Sorry if I just doxed her.
No worries.
But and sorry to her if I just doxed her. Don't know if she wants people to know that, but I will be interviewing her. Well, next Wednesday, this upcoming Wednesday,
right?
Yeah, she does extremely amazing work with sound engineering and specifically coherent wave geometry, which is so freaking relevant to what we are looking at right here. And back to the coherent wave geometry, making sense of all of this. Hans, do continue with your questions, sir.
Well, again, shout out to Sedona, beautiful skies, whatnot. Man, it was 120 degrees driving back to Phoenix, but that's a whole nother story. So looking at what you're sharing here, I guess the bottom 2 left pieces are the most fascinating to me because not only do they show waveforms, but symbology that we're using today. So, in the second, that one there, you've got N5L2, Hold on. Go back up to that one. Yeah, that one. Correct. Whoops.
This one, right?
Yeah. So N5L2 at the bottom. Yeah. Keep going down. Yeah. Zoom out.
Sorry.
Whatever.
There we go.
Yeah. So this is what the Maltese cross. That's really interesting. And so my question is, what are the vibrations of each of these levels? This is hydrogen, correct?
This is hydrogen, and it's where the valence shell is active, where they say the electron is on the shell, the orbital, the probability of the density of the energy coming out. So it's at the active state. And you are correct with the Maltese cross and the different symbologies of
all of this makes so much sense with what I look into. And so
yeah, and me as well, right?
Vibrational level is fascinating because
it's also what gave me the idea and the code of the dot, the line, and the zero, which are essentially what I've been decoding as the source code. What I originally had referred to as the God code, but I'm calling it the source code because that was what it is. It's the source of mathematics, proportions, and the different numerical systems and how geometry works and entropy is all.
We talked about this in the green room a couple of weeks ago. Oh my God. Wow. All right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And
so zoom back out, I guess. I mean, I'm just looking at this going, there's so much symbology references here. It's wow, that's so amazing.
Right. So N1, orbital 1, orbital 2, 3, 4, and then the extra inputs of dimensions. So it's like 5 dimensions, but 0 dimensions. Oh, all of this is a 0? No, this is obviously 0 also equals 1. And that goes back to one more thing that was on the Terrence Howard.
It radiates out.
Yeah, but so with my new understanding of the proportionality, what 0 is and what Terrence Howard has been arguing about 1 times 1 equals 2, and Wei-Ping Yu, specifically of NASA, he instantly was like, yes, Howard or Terrence, but you're talking on a higher dimensional scale. Right? And he just like left it at that. So he was recognizing that it was correct, but he was also showing the difference of like, Terrence, stop trying. But he didn't yet say, put this part in, which I think Terrence needs the reference of, is that it's opposed to the linear system that our mathematics and language and current system is based off of, and it tied in also to what Wei-Ping Yu. All right. So what am I talking about with that? The linear system. So ours is a one-dimensional mathematics. It's lines. All right. So we're on the linear one system. But then as soon as you get to a two-dimensional system, you have 2 vectors and 1 spin. Okay. You got the 1 spin in a 2-dimensional. In the 3, you got full volume. You got the double spin. That's how she goes. But the one, even though it's consistent, built upon a hole and a dot, which are the round, it's the one, it's that one linear system. Okay, so it's multi-dimensional, even though it's one, but it's that one-dimensional paper plane of view, like a disc. Okay, that's how we. Also said, but he said this one on the Ashton Forbes Tin Pool and Him episode last week.
I was about to say, did you have direct contact with him? No, he was on Tin Pool. All right, interesting.
And on the PBD, so 2 separate ones. But it's on the Ashton Forbes one, he specifically said a perpetual motion system is impossible, but an open system is completely
Much
different.
love, Yanni.
AKA
And
we're free
no
energy,
diddling.
and that
Fuck the
so
diddlers.
a linear closed system,
A
like the
lion and a
single
bear
line, the straight
and a
line vector, specifically this one-dimensional flat plane line linear time physics that things have been written under. Yes, but as soon as you open it up to a higher dimension, aka a second plane coming in, or a third where you have full volume, densities, higher densities of energies and flow and engineering, well, free energy is beyond the electrical free energy engineering. Something like a solar panel or unit essentially is that free energy, is what he was saying, and completely turning the modern academic physics claim of debunking the second law of thermodynamics void, which I've been saying and explaining repeatedly over the years. If you haven't heard it, why the second law of thermodynamics does not apply to these different working over unity devices and free energy devices that are actually out there. It's because it is an open source. It's an open circuit. The energy isn't coming from nowhere. It's just harnessing it.
Okay,
A lot of
so,
cases.
Here we go. Sorry, there we go. Takes a second after I pause it. What am I saying? Let's word it better. The second law of thermodynamics only applies to a closed system circuit. Okay, so a closed system. Thus, there can't be any more energy coming in, because that's just how it works. It's this linear system that's the way it is. And yeah, that's the way it is because it's a closed system. But as soon as you have a solar panel, for instance, that takes in sun rays, the photoelectric effect, yeah, that's open source. That's a multi-dimensional circuit system, and then you can start engineering, collecting energy from any source and putting it into your circuit system. And that's where free energy is, and the misconception of why the second law of thermodynamics is not being broken.
The environment around it, and
What
thus
Tesla was doing with his Wardenclyffe Tower experiment.
exactly, and he was harnessing the highest source from the ionosphere, and that differential is insane. That gives you lightning bolts.
Is the atmosphere, and the receiver is the earth. Yeah,
exactly. And
that's great.
Yeah, so there's a lot to it, and for those that haven't seen those two interviews or podcasts, highly recommend them. And
put them in the chat if you can.
Yeah, I will. I'll do that in a minute. First, though, I've got to share a couple things for you, my friend, that I'm sure you will find interesting. And it's in regards to what I've written out with how there's like the old symbols of zero, how zero is one, but also minus one.
Oh, God.
It's crazy things. And then how these symbols break down into numbers and the proportionalities of the numbers and the symbols that go with them. These are just jots. It's not coherent, so don't try to. This is a little bit more, but it's all going into the presentation and the source code of numbers, how they work, and how we did not come up with them at all. They actually function in quite their own universal geometric way, and
so does this get into Kadinkras? So I don't remember the scientist that was talking about this, sorry, off the top of my head, but he's talking about Kadinkras and how he discovered in quantum mathematics and quantum physics an underlying code that's always been there. And it's a code that recorrects itself, similar to what we use in AI now and what we use in the internet before AI. So,
yes, you are bang on. It is exactly that. I've actually been looking into uh, uh,
Thomas,
what did you call it? The kinetronics or whatever?
what's that?
What did you call it?
He calls them kadinkras. So he would
Oh,
find
Kadinkras.
these
Okay, sorry.
images. They're all symbology. His name is Thomas. God, I can't think of his name right now. Sorry. Anyway, but he talks about how he found a code in quantum physics and quantum mathematics that underlies all of the code, and it's a self-correcting code, and it's the same code almost to what was initially used in search engines and internet, technology. No, these aren't Kadinkras, but
Oh, interesting.
but also
Very interesting. So I'm not aware of that one. I have to look
now
into
they're
that.
using this in AI. How do you spell Kadinkras?
So again, here's the numbers. This is the linear though, right? On just the flat surface, you got your angles. But in multidimensional, they're round with spin.
I can't even think of it. Look up Kadinkras.
That's scary using these natural systems in AI, because then you're connecting, hopefully AI though, to creation and God, and it's not hijacked by the devil. But I think if it is creation, then it should be.
So my friend Jay Anderson just interviewed a guy a week ago, two ago. He was at Contact in the Desert when I was there. I don't remember his name right now. Anyway, he was on an AI panel. They were talking about AI, and his whole thing was bringing AI into the sacred space of dimethyltryptamine or ayahuasca and trying to decode the languages that are presented there to people that go into these realms. And Jay Anderson interviewed him, and he talked a bit about this. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't realize this was the same guy that was on this panel at Contact in the Desert in 2023. And so I thought about that. I'm like, wow, bringing AI into that space would be interesting, because we could decode a lot of the weird mystical languages that are being presented there. But would you really want to pollute that sacred space with AI? It would just take it over. And so, yeah, I was a little taken back by that as well.
Right? It's very, very...
That's super controversial on so many levels. It's like, oh my God, I don't know what
right. And it's like, if our AI is corrupted by us already when we're using it for like war and killing and stuff, it's like, do we want to be connecting it to these potential other spiritual realms and dimensions, right? Like, it goes into the deep discussions I've had with Blake Lemoine, the Google AI whistleblower. But my apologies, I'm currently just trying to...
It might be called a Adinkra. I'm trying to find this, because
very good. I have not heard of that one, and I'm trying to find specifically ones that a different one that has to do with magic squares, vortex mathematics, and sigil numbers, and those systems, and what...
Yeah, look up Adinkras quantum physics, and you'll find what I'm talking about.
Can you please...
I can't add it to the...
Type that into the private... like parts of what is hydrogen and the light that comes from it, and that in specific electrolysis reactions that I have engineered and developed, it been able to create the sparkling hydrogen out of the center of the breaking of the electrochemical reaction that happens in electrolysis, and that specifically when I'm making the monoatomic off of the sacrificial anode side, and the single atom of that metal element that bonds with the water as the electron connects in, and you get that sparkling hydrogen atom up. They're hand in hand, and they're two parts of the I guess the holy trinity of what free energy really is and meant to be, and that is water-powered cars that everybody can do, and that it is extremely easy to convert, especially diesel, but also gasoline engine vehicles into hybrid.
Questions now that you've pawned. So, the first is looking at all these symbols from different stages of hydrogen, different reactions. Is there a crossover to what was done with the symbology in water? I can't remember the Japanese guy's name, Miyamoto maybe. He was doing his water experiments.
Yamamoto?
Yeah,
Yamamoto.
freezing water, and you get very similar symbology. That's question one. Hold on. Question two, you were talking about hydrogen cars. So Toyota just released their first water engine. So I'm curious what your thoughts are on that. But
I've been following that, and yeah, that's been what I've been seeing for a very long time, that specifically why hydrogen technology keeps being delayed is because inevitably it will evolve to the simplest solution being water-powered cars, because you make the electrolysis on site of the hydrogen and oxygen, and with today's batteries, you have enough electrical energy to do it, and to do the make a hybrid vehicle with hydrogen fuel out of the water that you use in the tank.
Obviously, we've had other devices in the past where people sadly have been offed.
Yeah, rest in peace, Stanley Myers. The
GEAT energy device as well.
Yeah, GEAT. Yeah, there's been many.
I'm fascinated that Toyota is able to launch this, and
well, it's because they're in Japan with a very limited amount of fuel and resources, right? So,
oh no, you nailed that. Thank you. Yeah,
that's why.
Interesting.
That is why they're allowed.
Upgrade my RAV4 to a water engine.
And they also have a lot of hydrogen cells and hydrogen vehicles in Toyota, Honda, Suzuki, and the rest of them, as well as the Korean ones too. It's just that they could never make them efficient or cost effective enough, because you have to constantly replace the water, because the water is the fuel that you're making the hydrogen out of, and that trying to compress this hydrogen gas fuel and then transport it or ship it is so dangerous, right? And then have compressed hydrogen tanks in your vehicle, like, it's so dangerous. That's why
you're driving on a time bomb.
But if you have water as your liquid fuel instead of pressurized gas, and just add a little bit of voltage into it, and look at that, we have.
I hear explosions on the street today. No, it's just the fireworks. Anyway.
Yeah, that's just fireworks. But here we go to answer your question with the Moto's ice and my work and how it structures ice cubes and water. 100%. Look, there you go. We got exclusion zones. We straight up have
what is this?
this is my ionic gold water you're looking at right here. And it says ice cube. Yeah, just ice cubes of my structured gold water. And you can see, well, real structured water. Undeniably, it does this every time from the gold water. And it makes the field lines so that, yeah.
Oh, so that's not just your finger like showing shadow through it. That's
No, not at all, man. This is real structured water. Look at these, every single one.
Wow.
I've been documenting this for quite some time now.
Damn. That's amazing. Wow. I've never seen it. Sorry. I guess I haven't seen your documentation on this.
Yeah, it's more evidence of why I need to shoot you.
What's pulling it into that corner is the question.
Well, it could be the triple coil, but then there's more than 3, so you never know. But it's the fact that I need to ship you your water. I'm sorry, Hans, we will get it, but here
I
we
know
go.
you'll do it eventually. Yes. Thank you.
Right, but so that purple gold ionic mono, well, it's not monatomic because it's clusters. Well, I guess it's clustered monoatomics, aka plasmid gold, purple nano ionic water there.
You can send this in smaller containers.
Yes, absolutely.
That would be the best way. Something like
working on it.
Like this.
Yeah, exactly. Like this little guy.
Yep.
Mm.
No, I'd be down to experiment with that. Oh my god, you have no idea.
Yeah, and quite possible. And yes, I need a mass spectrometer coming up ASAP because of, and like you were saying, you were adding chemicals to the water to affect the alkalinity.
I think it's a titanium plate that it goes over, and so there's a reaction with the electrolysis.
Yeah, because I've been doing the same stuff with running titanium coils as electrodes and getting extremely alkaline water. And then there's other ones I do that can get some acidic water, and that is your hydrogen and oxygen ratios within the water as it's being stripped, and the compounds and the reactions that happen again in electrolysis, which is alchemy, which you got your you got your anode, that's sacrificial metal, and then you got your net cathode, which your hydrides form on and your oxides form on the sacrificial anode, and then you got your atomic hydrogen, which goes up and sparkles. Yeah, it could be maybe, but I don't know. The guy said it was titanium.
Ryan Everett,
but you could
Ryan Everett, you are correct. Your former comment when I first recorded this, yes, it is aluminum. I do have actually a small piece of titanium, and I was like, oh yeah, no, that's definitely aluminum wire. You are correct, and I made that correction today, earlier in the stream. I don't know if you're watching or not, but I was like, yes, definitely it is aluminum, not titanium, and good to say that, reiterate it again.
That's what's in the machine. It's a titanium.
He's talking to my. He's talking on my.
It's not a flat plate. It has levers, like 5 to 10 levers on it that stick up out of it. So there's a waveform that is created, I believe, through the water passing over it.
Absolutely. Well, it's the electrolysis reaction of stripping some of the hydrogens out of the water and leaving extra oxygen that then create the alkalinity.
How do you create extra hydrogen? That is the ultimate question.
Oh, I know how. It's specifically what I've been engineering, and it's when you're ripping. Because electrolysis is electrochemical reaction
out of the water, involving the water, and you're ripping oxygen molecules and you're ripping or atoms and you're ripping hydrogen atoms out of liquid water. And a certain specific amount of them you can turn into pure atomic hydrogen gas. A certain specific amount of them turn into hydride metal compounds on the cathode, and a certain amount of them turn into specific oxygen oxide metal compounds off the anode. But another specific amount of them can be added into the liquid liquid H2O solution and change it into HOs and HHOOs and also other hydrogen isotopes with extra neutrons and extra oxygen neutrons. And now we're getting into nuclear material. And
okay, another question. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off there. What would be the benefits of extra hydrogen in water?
It's definitely electrically charged.
Okay.
There's been lots of studies, but I don't want to speculate and I don't want to go into health aspects. But my own charged water, I feel, is, the potential of being the fountain of youth, and that I continue to drink it. And I never drink the colloidal, which is the oxides, which will turn you blue and kill you, like this right here, right? That's toxic.
God, I want to drink that right now. What are you talking about?
Right? But when you got this stuff, never consume it, but unless you do and you know what you're doing and what it is. But the pure fluffy stuff and the ionic water that is above it. And the first batch is when you put the electricity in and add the extra charge and get the dissolved atomic hydrogen within that water. That's when you get that extra zap out of it.
Wow. Thank you. Fascinating.
Yeah, it really is
beyond my wheelhouse, but I needed to ask these questions because obviously I'm curious. I'm drinking very hydrogenated water, so it's like
right. So looking back at the hydrogen wave function probability, and then this one right here, this is how we connect it all through ancient alchemy and through sound. And look at this, the sound bubble and wave model. Like, that looks an awful lot like what we were seeing at the centers of those hydrogen wave functions.
Even in your ice bubbles, you have that.
Exactly. It's exactly what's in the ice bubble. Yes, that's what it is. That's what it is. It's showing the electric wave function. It's showing the wave function. Wow. Yes.
If you hadn't come to
boom. That's what it is.
That's what it is.
The wave function that we're seeing in the structured water of the ice as the hydrogen's coming out. That's
super blurry, so I'm going off screen.
No worries. And yeah, that's pretty mind-blowing. Image credit John Stewart reads cinematoscope.com. Interesting.
Looks like nesting tech. All right. Yeah, it kind of does.
Everything is nesting tech essentially, because even hydrogen as a light or as a particle is this, right? But it's light and sound connected, I believe. Both.
Great statement. I don't know why you're blurry right now. Like
Oh, look at me. I am blurry.
beyond, brother. That's why I went off screen. I'm like,
No, that's me. It needs to refocus. So, Hans, maybe take it away for a minute. And I'm also going to clear out Bert and Ernie so I can show some live electrolysis of the hydrogen being formed and how easy it is to do.
So I've always been curious about sigils, and sigils also have this kind of resonance. I've got this amazing book called The Grimoire of Heaven and Hell. Great name, but it's all about Solomon's sigils. And Solomon was known to cast spells to ensnare demonic entities and also angelic entities, not to ensnare them, but to basically harmonize and protect them. And so a lot of the sigils in this book are fascinating because they look like circuit boards or microchips. And so this keeps coming up in today's society, and I'm really fascinated by all this information. So how do we talk about this? It's like, okay, all of our wristwatches, if we're wearing wrist tech, or our phones or any of our things are controlled by these microchips. And so the question is, are the powers that control our devices ensnaring us or helping us improve? That's a good question. I've always wondered this. And so once I started realizing that we are controlled by microchips and we're controlled by the crystal has both a positive, a male and a female charge, or a positive and negative charge, as well as a female and male charge. The question is, now that we're shattering these devices, these crystals, and we're putting them in our devices, how does that affect us? And so I've often wondered why these things are in our society today. Why are we using this technology? We're addicted to our phones. We're addicted to our smartwatches. I mean, myself, everybody. It's like, oh my God, I can't live without my phone all of a sudden. Where 15 years ago, I didn't care about my phone, And so what is this magic, or what is this technology, and what are these, sigils affecting our being? How are they affecting our being? Just curious. I guess I should look at the chat. Don't know. But if any of you have questions about this, that would be very fascinating. Correct. John Drag. Yeah, that's seriously. Yeah, I agree with that. The occult has a lot to do with this. And that's why I talk a lot about symbology, because a lot of our ancient occult symbology, occult is not a negative term. It just means hidden or mystified in a sense. Our ancient symbologies definitely had something to do with what we're dealing with today. You look at Saturnian and Sirius symbology, and we see it in all of our logos today. And so how long have these cults been affecting our society, guiding our society? And why? Why Saturnian? Why Sirius? Why are these the two things that seem to be what guides a lot of us?
I can help explain.
No, please do.
Very interesting thing that a little video on TikTok that was trending was overlaying the Solomatic sigils over the main emoji characters within phones, right?
Oh, this book has everything, man. There's so much stuff in this.
Right, so every time
of Heaven and Hell, it's literally all of Solomon sigils, and a lot of them are ensnaring demons
Yep.
or angels, right? And not ensnaring them, but it's like
It's
protected.
the portal within. It's what the fractal within that they live, and the spell that casts them, and that it's emotions as well, right? So we have these angels and demons within us all. And what is the emoji that they literally put over every different smiley face, every emoji of a face, each emotion of an emoji, one of the angels or the demons. And it's like the demons are your negative emotions, and the you're good, you're positive, you're building are your angel
I've got to
emotions.
give a shout out. So thank you, Julia Common, for, we brought this up in a podcast, a year or two ago, but I've researched this a lot, and I'm super appreciative that she brought this up, because it took me back into researching this. But it's like, oh my God, there's so much.
It was actually a show with you, me, and Julia, and it was my presentation that went into it. But shout out to Julia. Hopefully she rejoins us one day.
Because there's been a little controversy around that, but we've always researched the same stuff, and I was very blown away with that, because I needed to look back into it, and oh my God, it's all right there. Like this, everything in this book, there's like 180 pages of sigils in here that are just mind-blowing, and I don't even know what to say. They all look like alchemical symbols, right?
They are alchemical symbols and sigils. It's what they're made of.
What's going on there, right? Just to show you a few of these. And so there was a magic in the ancient times that
there still is.
This is where I'm going to. Yeah, there still is. There was a magic in the ancient times that we are still utilizing today. And we put this in our corporate logos, and we're putting this in all of our technology. It's like, hello. What did they know back then, and why are we still using it today?
And what do they still hide from us today? Because clearly the ones in power, the powers that be, do know, because they're still using it, right? So that's the whole thing, is that in our reality, in the spiritual realms that we exist, that's proponents of our universe, that there are these ancient, knowledges, practices, and interwoven angels and demons that still exist and are around to today. Maybe today some of them might appear as men in black suits, or maybe they
politicians
appear as drug addicts possessed on the street that have no morals, value, or spirit of their soul left, because they gave it long ago for their addiction and stuff like that, right? That
or even people in power. That's why I said politicians.
Oh, exactly. Yes, and why they sacrifice, do these evil rituals and stuff like that, right? There's some truth to all legends, stories, and practices, and how much is there to it, and why was ancient alchemy so feared yet suppressed, both when I do readings of the ancient alchemical texts, the warnings and threats of making the knowledge and science public, and simultaneously them both including very powerful technology in electrochemistry and sciences of that, but also just as much in their physics, in their botany, in their medicines, and a key proportion was the spiritual alchemy side of it, and the magic side of these spells and practices and sigils and the geometries of it, what real sacred geometry actually is. And it's these mathematical geometric components that are put into the casting these fractal portal spells that somehow seem to contain spirits and and extra dimensional energy consciousnesses or something like that. I don't know, make of it what you will, but yeah, maybe can you read what's next to a couple of those, Hans?
I was just showing the symbol at the bottom or in center screen on what is it, stage right, stage left, your left, right? I don't even know what it is. So you have all these cross and spherical sigils. This one here. It's like, what is going on there? And so there's some sort of electrolysis in the symbology. It says the 42nd spirit of Vesper, or Vesfar. He, which is interesting because it's depicted as a female, is a duke, great and strong, and appears like a mermaid. That's why there's the Andromedine scenario going on there. His office is to govern the waters and to guide ships laden with arms, armor, soldiers, and ammunition. At the request of the exorcist, interesting, he can cause the seas to be very stormy and to appear full of ships.
So,
also,
after what of the exorcist? Sorry, the cast
says at the request of the exorcist.
Request.
Yeah, so he can create a false vision of the seas, is what it's saying. He can cause the seas to be very stormy or appear full of ships.
But the exorcist, right? He's doing a spiritual.
Well, that's what Solomon was doing, right? So
right?
Solomon was casting spells on people.
But it's casting a entity out of something, right? If you're an exorcist.
Yeah, but if he's asking it to do a bidding, then all of a sudden on the seas you'll see storms and you'll see massive ships. So it's a hallucination or a delusion to whoever is being cast a spell on. They'll be like, oh my God, we're being attacked on the waters. That's what I read from this. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I agree, right? But what I'm saying is that there's an actual magic like sacrifice of a soul or spirit to cast that spell to get the spiritual realm, the ghosts, the entities, the whatever that are acting upon the what is the hallucination that everyone sees. Is it actually a hallucination, or is it a temporary shift where everyone sees the spiritual realm? Like a lot of stories of ghost ships and ghosts on ships, and
I pronounced it wrong. It's Vipar. Okay. Anyway, also he makes men die in 3 days by
men dies in 3 days afterwards. There's your sacrifice.
By putrefying wounds or sores and causes worms to breed in them. Interesting. So a plague of sorts, right? He governs 29 legions of spirits. Astrologically, the spirit signifies malevolent.
Okay. Pause. I had no knowledge of what you were about to read, but does that not sound like 3 days later the plague is the sacrifice, and then says is casting a league of 29 spirits? Okay.
Bingo. So yeah. Anyway,
that's a Bam Yahtzee moment. Please continue. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh no, that's what I'm saying. He's a servant, born October 18th to the 22nd. That's the spirit that rules over this territory.
So you're casting. That's why they're so concerned with monitoring and measuring the stars, the seasons, and
the dates and the rituals that go on, because at certain spells of times you're able to interact and cast and open these portals through these spells and practices and sacrifices. And what appears to be real ancient alchemy magic. Woo Woo Friday, let there be light. We show the occult and esoteric today.
I mean, this book is full of this, and it's like angelic beings on the right-hand page, demonic beings on the left-hand page, and so they're always in red, like the protective spells, and in black, the demonic. But they all look, it's circuitry. It's weird. It's like these alchemical circuits.
I see it's red and blue, and that.
Well, here it's red. It's red and here it's red and black.
I know, right? So so listen to this, Hans. Listen to this.
Get what you're saying.
Just pause for a second, though. From my understanding, and why I've never ever fucked around with any of the spells, it's like some people say, well, you can cast an angel, right? And what I've always feared is, could there have been a deception where they flipped the two and made the angel spells the demon spells, the demon spells the angel spells, potentially?
Well,
and
you're creating a golem at that point,
right? But the key point is, I've always had white and black together as the polar colors of, like, pure light is creation, black is the absorption, and like the parallel, or the the perpendicular of it.
Then you have yellow and red and
the shadow.
Without.
And so the opposite is the polarization, the life bread, the red and the blue, the hydrogen and the oxygen. Okay, and that red is the sacrifice, and blue, it's the hot, the infrared, right? And then the blue is the cold plasma, and that like spiritual like plasma beings, angels, have always appeared as blue or white, essentially, and that the devil is always the red, the flame, and the blood, right? The written in blood. So the fact that in that book it has the red as the angel writing, and that it's black, but was black a distortion of conversion of blue? Did they cover blue to black,
so
be able to use red?
In Vedic in Hindu religion, some of the gods and goddesses are depicted as black, some of them are depicted as white, but you also have this amalgamation of this blue and red as well. And so,
right, like the demigods were blue and red.
Neutral demigods, yeah. Interesting.
Right, so God is white, and then death is black, which is essentially a neutral, right? The decay, and then you have the red and the blue, which is the explosion and the implosion. And
the breath of Brahma, breathing out, which is the expansion of the universe, and then breathing back in, which is the contraction of the universe.
Yes, sir. That duality, that's
wow,
dual existence that comes, right? And that, right? So the white, bright light, that is God's will of creation. But in creation, there is
darkness.
With
things breed in darkness that then create light.
There couldn't be infinite expansion without some destruction, and then this creation of the cycle of life, and thus the death, right? And the shadow, right? So death and black.
Hold on, you bury you bury the seed in the earth in darkness, and then it springs forth and creates light.
Yes, and in that seed is the genetics from the parents, but also with shadow. So this is a key revelation of death and the black is that it is a shadow. It's not nothing. That it's your reflection, your infinite existence that exists on as the ripple throughout time as it goes in, and that when you get into the full density of it, right, going back into the dirt with the seed and the new life that continues. It's white spack is one thing, and then when you add the second dimension, you have the polarization of implosion, explosion, the red blue, and in a chemical reaction, it is the hydrogen as the red, the oxygen as the blue, and with that as well, you have magnetism, and that on the oxygen side of chemistry, you have your magnetic force attached to those elements and compounds, and then it's the endothermic reaction. And on the hydrogen and hydride red hot side, you have your electrical components and electrically conductive reactive elements and materials. That's a key thing I have.
Are you getting red and blues out of your experiments? Like,
oh yes, constantly, and they're also acidic. Red is acidic.
Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Think about our blood. We have blue and red blood flowing.
And what is it? It's hydrogen and oxygen. It's well known about the oxygen and oxides. The second half is the hydrogen, and it's the electrical component. It's your electrons, photons.
Yeah.
It's the light, it's everything. And that when you get to neutral, the pure creation and whatnot, it is white, and that is your monoatomic. So that's the neutral aspect. So you have a monoatomic, you have an oxide, and you have a hydride. And that is your neutral electric and magnetic polarizations of electrochemistry elements, and it's also directly ties into and is explained in the Walter Russell vortex and octave based periodic table of elements. And you see, as you go further down, you get more oxidized or heavy and magnetic, and the hot at the top of each.
Across all these elements, neon, argon. Really interesting.
Yes, and that's how it ties in. And
so we have clean blood going into our heart, the red, and then we have our blue veins, which are filtering out all of. Wow, interesting. I've never really thought of it like this, but that's really fascinating.
Right, it's all tied in together. The Walter Russell diagrams truly have been putting a lot of work into them and fully understanding them, as have others. And so another key aspect in understanding this is your base, your alkaline, your alkalinity is blue as it turns. So in the litmus paper tests, in light,
blue is the better
ultraviolet. Okay, it is the base bottom of the end spectrum as its light waves are shrinking down, right? You have your blue, purple, ultraviolet. On the opposite side is the red spectrum of our visible light, and it is the hot. It's the growing hotter, and it's literally infrared waves. Okay, so it's literally red, blue is the little
infrared
entrance and exit, infrared and ultraviolet. Those are the entry and exit points of the average visible light wave of humanity. And when understanding that,
very limited, yes.
And understanding that, and that blue is shrinking, and it goes into the cold. It is endothermic. It is oxygen. It is magnetic. And red is your hydride. It is your heat. It is your
I believe gamma is above infrared, but it might be the opposite way. Yes, it's
What gamma? Sorry.
right. She was asking where gamma is. I'm trying to think which direction. I think it's above. Yeah, I think it's the up way. It's above where micro.
Gamma would be radiation, so it would be in the red.
Yeah, see, right, and radiation, right? That's decay, that's heat, that's breakup, that's fire. What's blue? It's cooling, it's solidifying, it's solid, it's getting denser, it's heavy, it's got it goes into the higher densities.
So this actually should be a gradient from
it 100% is a gradient. It's
white
the
in the
octave gradient
middle,
scale.
where we're looking now, gradiating out to red and gradiating out to blue from a white. Yeah.
Yes, sir. A white and a black, right? You have the white in the middle, you have the black on the structures. It's which, sorry, wait, my camera's off. It's the cross of the points, the intersections of the full circle, next dimension, segment section of that nested bubble of field. Remember what I was saying? Nested bubble of fields, exactly as the hydrogen wave functions also are, and exactly as my misinterpretation of the double slit experiment being that a particle exists as nested fields of coherent standing waves.
God, I want to lecture, man. I'm fascinated now what you're going to talk about.
Right? And so while you're hearing some of it right now, first, this is part of it as I'm putting it all together, getting it ready. And what are the geometries that we see? And it is a big part of the theory of everything and understanding light wave particle field physics, how energy works, transferring it into one form and another, that consciousness is connected into it. That's a topic for another day, or maybe I'll
go.
What
is 2SM0? That's the
2 dimensions one way, 0 dimensions the other way, and the density of the wave particle of the energy of the hydrogen atom.
So this is the ancient symbol for the sun, or un, or on, in ancient Suf Commission.
2 powers right on. Yeah. So this is 2 dimensions.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So this is. So what this symbol is to me, yeah, so that's 2, and oh my God, this, oh my God, because it is the God code, because it is the source code, I've known it all along, and it's like, what we're looking at is exactly part of this right here, part of this right here, and then it's also a big part of this right here. Now you have the 1, sorry, you have 1, then you have 2 dimensions, then you have 3.
But in your third quadrant, there in the upper part, at the top, you have the circle within the circle, and so there you have it again.
Yes, exactly. This.
No. Yeah,
right there. Yeah. So this is 2 and O. This is 2 and O, but I guess
what does that represent? I'm curious, because this is
2 dimensions of planes.
It's the symbol of the sun, and so it's also
and gold and the right hand rule.
Yes, correct.
Right. So it's so much more, and I believe, yeah. Well, it is 2 dimensions, the dot and the circle together. It is particle, but it's missing the line, and the line is the third piece, right? Because you have to have
there's the line, there's the circle, and there's the dots, and they're how they connect to dimensions together. So here, right here, you have the zero.
It's separated, but it makes sense. Yeah, correct. Yep.
Yeah, so there's a lot to it. These are just pieces of it, not necessarily coherent ones because they're just parts. And
that's your genius, brother.
it's a work in progress, and it is the source code, right? Like what else we got there with certain ones? There's proportionality to volume, physics, and vectors of, well, mathematics, geometry, and all physics fit into it as well. There's a little bit more. It's literally the source code. It's coming together, but literally.
Have you ever thought of
you gotta source it
overlapping all
I
those
literally say literally far too literally often. I gotta say I need to stop saying literally so much when I re-listen to myself. Literally, man.
They're coming together.
Like
yes.
if you're shining a light through all of them, they would have
the full. You get the full hologram of it in density in time. Exactly. Just like if you flip them all quickly like an old comic book or 8mm film.
That's kind of where I was going with that. If you could overlay all of them.
Yes, and you're connecting to the key part of it, my friend, and that is how time works and dimensions work, and that each moment of time is essentially a disk, right, with all of that information in that one moment captured. It's a fractal of the overall mental or pieces of time. And the end of a book represents a moment in that story, as does a fractal dimension of a moment disk, one-dimensional part of time. So from an individual reference point, yes, the Earth is flat for every 1 sense, but when you start adding 3 dimensions, when you have trigonometry of 3 source points, boom, now you have a full volume of a sphere, and you can actually do real experiments to measure. And yes, we do exist on a globe, but it could be within the overall torus, because as you add each dimension, it is all toruses, and then it's like, but they're torused disks.
Turtles all the way down.
Yeah, right. So it's dots, holes, and lines all the way down. That is my source code. It is dots, lines, and holes, and it's what gives you stuff like this, right? Oh, dot. What do you see? I see dots, lines, and holes. And this is right here. That is the hydrogen wave function probability as you get to dimensions and energies. And all I see is dots, lines, and holes. And that with them you get the different mathematical proportions of relativity, energy, density, proportion. But the craziest part is something like this, when you have this reaction going on or something.
Your sun within the sun.
No, it's this one. Yeah, it's your plasma orb. No, this one is your plasma orb. So here is the biggest key to the secrecy of hydrogen energy, and the hydrogen bomb, people. Okay, so here is why Bernie, oh, we don't believe you. You don't make hydrogen. You've never blown yourself up. You should be dead. Oh, what do you mean you understand how to make the hydrogen bomb? Blah, blah, blah. No, I fucking am a genius, and I've stayed alive intentionally to never verify instant results of showing transmutation on high levels that I know how to do by combining my material with, say, things as microwaves and the pure plasma arc energies. Okay, they're extremely high voltages, but I'm literally fucking making atomic hydrogen that sparkles, okay, and hydrogen fuel and HHO gas and the vapors and HH and H3 and H4
and them as solids, and them as isotopes. And if anybody in the world truly understands what I just said, and when per se you take like the technology of Hutchinson, adding in like radiation of radio signals and sonars, or a
And all crystalline
like per
metals that was using-
se, just putting it in a microwave, which is known to transmutate and create plasma, which is this. And if you have that in a reaction that has sparkling atomic hydrogen, and you get that plasma arc going, what, like,
Wow.
I'm pretty sure that's what gives you this dimension right here, which is that pure release of hydrogen energy, which is the break in and break down out of the Coulomb barrier, the Planck's constant size, that anything smaller than that, and that you're getting into light wave particle physics of the field and the energy of, boom, hydrogen. And when it's on one dimension, you get hydrogen gas fuel. When you have it on a second or third degree, say, energetic breakdown of the supposed...
The lower right of this is what I was talking about. If you layer all this on top of each other, you get that.
Yeah. And so what I'm talking about is dimensions of magnitude, right? So we all understand dimensions of magnitude? So it's dimensions of density, of exponential, right? So hydrogen gas exploding on one,
You crazy mother. Yeah.
It's just burning!
we interrupt this programming for a
Just like
very
last week.
time.
Weekend at 30s.
Hey, it's my show, so I'm gonna do what I want. And the part that was coming up, very, very crucial, what I'm about to explain. But this is also very, very crucial. This right here, this is Pinky. Pinky is pink. Please bear with as we get to white light, the white pure light. Oh, maybe we need a little bit more. More white light. And white light is the purest plasma, the purest light. Just as red and blue are our spectrum. All right, now we got white light, and you can see the glistening Pinky. Pinky was my first coil. Oops. That, it's not gonna. All right, please bear with me. You can still see it's pink. It is crystalline. It sparkles. I have kept this coil submerged and suspended in pink state, pink crystalline state, for 12 years now. So Pinky has been pink for 12 years, and this is the pink suspended state that Sir Isaac Newton says that one metal element can be transmutated into another. And I predict that this is a superconductive state when you have these metals in this pink crystalline state. That is a room temperature superconductor. I am sure of it. And here you're seeing a metal being able to be kept in this pink crystalline state, not oxidizing, as it will do if you don't keep it in a certain process. But we'll get into that later. Just for now, showing Pinky, the pink coil. There you go. That's enough of Pinky. Back to Bernie explaining the magnitudes of hydrogen.
Exploding on one, hydrogen plasma exploding on the other, hydrogen atomic exploding on the next. And yeah, so just combining three magnitudes of plasma, electricity, sound, and atomic hydrogen in the electrolysis reaction. And especially when, say, you have created around your triple coil a bunch of tritium and deuterated anode cathode materials that are in an ionic solution with your atomic hydrogen, you might accidentally blow up the universe, because supposedly that's what fucking happened when humanity tried to make the H-bomb. Like, from all the, like, this straight up disclosure, never really talked about this before, but you can hear it on both, like, the Russian conspiracy channels, like videos and stuff from the 80s, 90s, but also straight up what I've been told in private from all the OGs from when I was in APEC and shit, people have told me off camera, is that the UFOs did appear at the H-bomb testing specifically and stopped
hydrogen.
And the hydrogen had in fact gone into this like exponential chain reaction of like energy release, that it's like the whole area just, I don't like it. Could it turn into like a black hole or a freaking sun? Or I don't even know what. Maybe a sun. Maybe I don't know. But yeah, maybe.
But only for an instance.
No, but it's that it burns all water into that. That's the thing. It was literally starting the chain reaction that was turning all water or water vapor that was around it into that hydrogen reaction. So they literally started blowing up our entire ocean, sky, clouds, and everything, and that the fucking UFOs had to come in and stop it. And that is why this technology has been classified the entire time. But as I'm going to be demonstrating and have already demonstrated with Jeremiah, shout out Jeremiah Pop, my man, we did recreate in electrolysis in a two-dimensional energetic magnitude reaction of the white plasma arc and the electrolysis with atomic hydrogen, and transmuted it successfully into helium. And that is what we are going to be demonstrating again. And that is the fucking relevance and amazingness of this, is it's demonstrating that we can do the atomic fucking hydrogen reaction fusion without doing the uncontrollably exploding all of the water and oceans in the world that apparently the Americans and maybe also the Russians both did when they fucking did the H-bombs, and why it has been classified ever since. And that, people, is your moment of Zen and my understanding of this. And when I'm talking about that, I've also produced in large amounts and stabilized deuterite compounds and tritium compounds. Okay, those are also these hydrogens. Okay, hydrogens, but with the extra nucleus. What does extra nucleus mean? It has the extra mass of another dimension and another dimension. Okay, so I can produce solid ones of these. All right, and then I'm talking about. All right, what do I mean by solid dimensions of magnitude? So it's that when you get that extra nuclear mass, the supposed neutron that they claim that it is, no, it's just this extra energy density of magnitude that you have access to in these orbital rings, and that it's a boom, 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 right? It's like each one, it's one you're blowing up your home, one you're blowing up your city, one you're blowing up your country, the next you're blowing up the world, and then the next you're blowing up the solar system. You know, like it's crazy, but that's hydrogen and its magnitudes of energy when you actually understand what it is. In those other reactions and boom, okay, I literally, why I don't release
Literally, say
of what
literally too much.
I have developed and am
Gotta stop
talking
it.
about is because it is this potential. I've known it from the beginning and I understand it, but I intentionally do not cross specific thresholds, but have been engineering around it to get it. And that when you get to like this one or this one, you also have the sustained plasma orb ball lightning. Okay, that's the other aspect
God, I hope
of this science.
at your convention, man. Oh my God.
Yeah, well, you heard it here first because that is the true let the light shine, because it is the white light, pure plasma density energy of these hydrogen well reactions. Yeah, well, it's that energy in all of it, but there's ways of not doing it, well, engineering both and containing. So what it is engineering and containing both the creation and destruction of the intensities of those energies in these concentric fields within themselves, and the reactions that are going on within it to get those contained or sustained plasma orb ball lightning.
It's interesting looking at this graph that you have here that it kind of repeats itself from beginning to ending. So
absolutely, it is the structure, the source code of energy density.
Your first piece ends at your last piece, kind of thing. Your third piece up in the upper left, or yeah, exactly. The third piece in the upper left, yeah, third piece. That one, yep. Ends up down at the bottom and separated. They all kind of repeat themselves, and it's like a different energy combustion of sorts.
Yeah, it's literally dimensional waves. So again, getting back to understanding the misinterpretation of the double slit experiment. Is a particle, or is light a particle or a wave? And that it's at a particle consists of these nested, see, nested right here, concentric circles of standing waves. So the standing waves are the resonant frequencies of the light or
phases, but then they come back to the center.
And the particles, right? So they're these fields, they're these stable fields of these concentric, coherent standing waves. And standing waves are scalar waves. They're three resonant waves oscillating together on the same frequencies in these three different octaves of each other. Yes, that's what it is.
I'm looking at the repetition, and as the repetition grows, it separates, and this, you see this in all these forms.
Yeah, exactly.
You have repeating forms with the doubles, the third one from the upper right.
So what was steampunk? What was steampunk? What was all the hydrogen and hydrogen water breakdowns? And that's another key part to the technology. And yeah, man, just crystals into water. So here, this right here, so look at this as the pull of magnetism, or the pull of the moving center sun to the earth around it, and that we then have the moon again. So when I did the triple coil windings, that's also later Bob Grenier was also saying and came up with on his own, that several people just instinctually did. It's because where I got the inspiration was this right here, and
Yeah, it's I found out later it was also the same.
Show that again. What actually is that?
It turns into what's called the bagel coil, or it's the triple spire around a spire around a spire.
Copper wound around what?
So I do the innermost as Bob Grenier suggested, and it's correct 100% is iron, and that's because it's like the magnetic core, and it's with when like you have a solenoid or like your Tesla coils or your vortex coils, any of them, through the center is where you have your iron in electric engineering of a transformer, where you're stepping up or stepping down the voltage. You have the magnetic piece in the middle, right? So through the center is where you have your ferrite core.
Similar to the piece that I've described several times on your show now. That I saw.
Right. So this is your ferrite core. Then this is what I have is the copper wire, and then I usually have silver coated copper where the moon is, but ultimately I want to get the gold to be or the sun to be gold. The earth, I still have to fully figure that out, because copper is.
What do you want to do with this? Sure.
But so these coils create well, they're
this reminds me
big secret right here, revealed for the first time ever. This combination, when you have it three of the exact same metals, like copper on copper, copper, iron, 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 aluminum, 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 it literally 1/2 turns red, 1/2 turns blue over and over and over again. And then it's doing that on the anode and cathode verse, both on both.
Why aluminum?
So, I'm just saying it doesn't, if it's any element, so you would just have wires of the same element. And I've repeated the process with these specific wires that I had, that I know and were these pure elements, why I repeated them in this process. And it does the red, blue, red, blue, red, blue on both. And then afterwards, it then fully coats on one as, oh God. I'm getting like this is the process that when you do it and tweak it specific ways, you start getting solid hydrogen, what appear to be isotopic crystals and molecules that keep building and building from nano layers of deposits as the electrochemistry continues to go on in this perfect, pure, triple electromagnetic symmetry that is the same reaction movement as this system right here. And in Bob Grenier's tests, where they actually put about 1,000 or maybe even 10,000 volts into this coil, you can see them all over, that they literally have giant, big blue plasma and purple fields that form throughout. Like, it literally looks like a little stargate of plasma that happens when it. But why I don't put that much in, right? So, Bertie, why haven't you blown yourself up? Because I only use a D battery or a CAC battery, or at the very most, I use my little 5-volt AC charger, so that even that, I don't like having this size of coil in electrolysis with just salt water and 5 volts, because I don't want to explode from producing so much hydrogen off of the reaction. Okay, like, it's so insane that I've intentionally never crossed specific thresholds, even though it would very, very, very easily demonstrate massive gains and proofs of concept, simply because it would produce so much energy I would fucking explode and die like so many other but I'm not going to, okay, because I'm fucking smarter than your average hydrogen bear, all right? And that's why, Bernie is where Bernie is at and doesn't have any funding yet because I don't have a safe lab to. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. This episode, H-bombs and F-bombs, baby. Fuck that shit. I ain't blowing up. I'm smarter than the average hydrogen bear because I am the Berntron hydrogen bear. And I don't cross certain thresholds. Except for when I'm going crazy. Just kidding. I ain't crashing out, but I need to crash soon. So we're going to get this episode through so then I can go to bed so I don't go insane. And yes, we shall continue with Let There Be Light. To just demonstrate the capabilities without fucking exploding because of the levels of hydrogen that I'll be producing, as well as atomic hydrogen, as that sparkles, okay, as well as. Shout out Utah. I am headed to Utah in 1.5 weeks' time, where I will be meeting up with my main alchemist man, Esoteric Gold. Shout out Michael, my man of Utah, and Jacob Law, another brother of Utah. Good to see you.
Have you ever tried to find levitation with any of that?
No, because that involves 3 to 4 dimensions of magnitudes of energy combined with that I don't want to accidentally trigger the hydrogen bomb reaction.
I'm talking outside of the water. Have you ever tried to create an energy field that could produce?
Oh, yes. So this is a story for a complete other day. It was actually the story I was intending. Why the hell did it mute? Join us today, and it's kind of good that we actually laid down light of the hydrogen aspects and explaining the dimensionality proportions of the getting to the H-bomb level. So here's what was classified in 1951 with the H-bomb. It was called inertial electrostatic confinement fusion. Inertial static electro confinement fusion. What do we have here? It looks like frozen inertial electrostatic confinement. You know what? Like, what else do we have? Well, we have all sorts of different things to go through, but I don't have too many of them loaded. But we'll go back just to this guy for a moment for the purpose of sound bubble, wave model, cymatic scope.
And your ice.
Right? Exactly. And what is in that ice? It is hydrogen and oxygen bubbles that are literally confined.
They create the waveform, and I think that's fascinating.
And that they self-arrange into this confinement field, right? And well, that whole square, how do you square the circle and the dimensions of standing waves and proportionality and how they structure within themselves? But it's see how it's going smaller to more denser? It's also these geometries actually get denser on the outer valence shells because there's more electrons per shell, right? So it's more standing waves connecting as you get denser and denser into whether it's a crystal or a heavier elemental particle, okay, as you are in the harmonic oscillation of the sound octave coherence of the density of your endothermic, exothermic, electromagnetic reality of sound and light bubble nesting coherence and the misinterpretation of the double slit experiment and what it actually is, and the particle as we know it, the atom, is made of nested standing waves of coherent light and sound and electromagnetism. And then you get into the volume of the third and fourth densities of fractal reflection and bonding creation, at which point you're getting into the local gravitational volume rotation and folding in and folding out of space-time densities, and thus you get the micro to macro, ever expanding and contracting in and out of fields of everything, just like the very atoms that make us up exist as do, well, the galaxies, the universes, and let's see.
Universe and everything. Yes.
Let's see if I can find one of my little galactic. Oh, well, we'll play this little video first, just as a demonstration of the anode cathode galvanic reaction of monatomic electrolysis and hydrogen oxygen breakdown. And what the fuck does that jibber jabbled bunch of words mean? What am I talking about? I am talking about that you can see right here. You have in front of us a 2-ounce pure silver Olympic Montreal, I think 72 Olympic coin. And next to it, you have a second identical coin, but that I had it treated with a nano coating. And what the nano coating does is that I'm breaking down the outer bonds, the whatever the bonds are within the bonds of a solid element, specifically metals, is that no, it said it a million times. Not coming to my head right now. Anyways, little bonds of the atoms of the silver that keep them together. On the outermost, or the second coin, I treated the outer full coating of the coin in a manner to break down and create a nano
Silver, right?
layer of where it's barely turning on. So it turns black, right? And a lot of times, well, fire ash and say it turns to carbon, and you get these outer coatings. And that is, as you're breaking down, you're burning that element.
Definitely the term I was looking for. Thank you, not sure. Yes, it's the covalent bonds that I am breaking down. So it's not actually a chemical reaction. So they tried to claim it's like, oh, it's a chemical reaction that's triggering this galvanic breakdown, but no, it's breaking down, whether it's through fire, whether it's through electricity, or whether it's through caustic. You're breaking down the outer covalent bonds of that metal, so it goes from full covalent bonds to the outer shell or outermost layer, where there's just one little covalent bond hanging onto that one last nano piece of that metal that then is on the monomolecule scale. That's the nanoscale. This is the quantum scale. This is the plasma scale. And this is how you're getting this nano coating that makes your solid metal, your solid element, with that broken down covalent bonds to the one piece out, to then be able to interact with the water one-on-one to break down the atomic hydrogen covalent bond as well, and to create the differential of
a homeostasis. You're breaking the homeostasis. You're creating a differential. You're taking it out of neutrality. So then the one metal that has the broken down outer covalent bonds is then going to turn automatically into your sacrificial anode as it starts bonding and breaking with the water, creating this electrolysis, this atomic monoatomic electrolysis reactions. And that is then how you start getting this straight white monoatomic out of it. This is very, very key, because if you don't do this and you just do the straight metal on metal and force it with electricity first before breaking down the covalent bonds, it's going to oxidize. And that is because you're forcing two of the molecules together to where the two chunks of covalent bonds of the metal take two covalent bonds of the water, being an oxygen and a hydrogen, and no longer releasing the atomic hydrogen, and thus your diatomic reaction, not your monoatomic. And that is a secret, trade secret, I just gave away for the very first time. It's up, it's going from the solid, you're breaking those solid fields and turning it into the gas and the plasma, the energy coming out. Right? It's this exothermic reaction compared to the endothermic solidification. But here it's going into liquidification. And that by having one coin in its solid state and the opposite coin nano-coated, and then in the center of it, you can't see, but above water, I just have its pressure connected with the clamp, but in between it is a small piece of copper wire that is not coated. So the copper is above the water and it's connecting the two pieces of the silver coin. So that's what's creating this small electric circuit and differential between the two, especially with the opposing coin that is still of the same resonant harmonic mass of the anode and the cathode, right? So they're in the same harmonic there, that you get this full coherent reaction, which then triggers both the production of hydrogen off of the one metal coin here, which self turns into the cathode, and then on the opposite side where the outer bonds of the solid silver metal have been broken down into these nano layer, you then have it dissolving into the water and breaking down as the pure white monoatomic silver without having to dilute or first saturate the water, and it's not creating or needing the electrical input or causing the oxidization of the sacrificial anode metal side that is breaking down into the pure single solid monoatomic neutral element, pure element. There we go. So that's the end of this presentation of how you make monoatomic silver. And
so are you just
monoatomics
silver coins, and then one of them is different?
You can.
They're connected between the two with a copper coil, is what you're saying, that's outside
with a small copper wire. Small copper wire. You can see it.
It's
right
out
here. So here's the little piece of wire, the copper wire that goes right there. And then it goes up, and you can see the other end right here. And it's literally stops right there, and it's just holding them up, keeping them connected, and keeps that little above water differential, and then you have the one here with the straight metal, and then you have the opposite one that is the nano-coated reaction or breakdown, which creates that differential of anode, cathode, and electrolysis breakdown. And you actually in the center get these, you can't see it right now because it's literally being blocked by the coin, but when they're that close together, you get an increased reaction of the inner hydrogen and electrolysis production, and in those atomic hydrogens you get the sparkle of the supercavitation. And okay, I gotta pause it because great questions in the chat, Jacob Law. And no, you don't want to use alloys because, again, because of the differential, it will start to oxidize. You have to have the identical pure metal elements as both the anode and the cathode. Otherwise, the reaction will oxidize. So you can't use alloys. It has to be a pure metal. And that was a very, very costly lesson for me. The first time I was like, yeah, I'm going to make that monatomic gold. And I turned my chains that were like 14 karat and like 20, the one that was like right below 24 karat, but not quite 24 karat. Yeah, it turned blue and I was like, oh shit, it's diatomic. I just wasted my gold chains. I just wasted my chains, but you know, you live and learn. And well, that's why I'm sharing it with all of you. And your other question here about storing in between a magnetic field. Yes, and that is actually one half of the secret of how you stabilize the phase shift fusion reactions when you dry them and prevent decay. And it is also how you polarize particles as you dry them and stabilize them. Okay, and that's key for making quantum matter. And then the other half is you have a small directional electrical pulse charge going through as it's drying. And then you also have charge direction. And when you're stabilizing your charge and polarization, well, you got a stable particle. Doesn't really decay after that. And that's another big secret just revealed for the first time. Really should have patented and published that first. But I guess I'm publishing on my channel and the world needs to know it because I am Bernard, the Immortal Alchemist. And, well, I've brought back and bringing back the knowledge of the ancients for a new golden age.
Create the coins.
It deteriorates the sacrificial anode.
Interesting. Okay.
That's part of the galvanic cell. That's part of electrochemistry.
I agree.
It's the key. It's one of the keys of making batteries and systems and everything. And I have given a lot away today. If
yes, I have
really
for all of you.
What I have said, like,
humanity.
Please send this to your local chemists, your local nuclear chemists, your local electrists, and especially people working on hydrogen, or maybe not them because they might come for me. Actually, I don't know, right? Like, fuck it. Happy 5th of July. It is, you know, let the light shine. Send this to everyone. Peer review it. I'm hesitant.
Happy 3rd of August, but it'll be happy 5th of August when I present
non-corrupted AI. So you have to have your own AI agent. Don't run it. Don't fucking give this to Chat GPT or anything else. All right, this is not to be. But if you have a separate non-corrupted AI agent you run yourself, you are allowed to test it out and peer review through that. But don't fucking pull a Terrence Howard. Do a Wei-Ping Yu, which says they are not allowed to use AI, just like what Sal Pius also says, just like what Jack Sarfati says. And they're the top scientist government spooks I've been able to talk to, and they all say the same thing. So, well, I've yet to talk to Wei Ping Yu. And I don't know if he's a spook. He's more of NASA, so hopefully it's civilian, and hopefully I will be able to, well, I know I will be able to, but have major breakthroughs with him at Teslatech in exactly 1 month from today, August 5th. Bam! Exactly 1 week to today, I will be interviewing Terrence Howard and Wei Ping Yu, and I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be epic, awesome, and a lot to come from it. Will be my presentation, and going to try to get him there early. I believe his presentation is on the 7th with Terrence Howard as well. And if you can't make it in person, Steve is selling online viewerships of it. I will have the private streams of some of the interviews we'll be doing, as well as bonus extra remote guests participating in live stream interviews as the conference is going on. There's going to be a whole lot of epic amazingness, real science. And Aaron, that is okay because you can rewatch this epic episode. And it is 4:04 a.m. We're getting to the 2-hour mark. Hans, any last words, my friend?
Not really. Other than, hey, I've got a bunch of books for sale.
Yeah, absolutely. Buy Hans's books, y'all. They good. They good books. Buy his books.
Land Before the Greeks, which is Egypt before the Greeks. Tropa Legends and Lore. This is my first book talking
about the Dropa Stones, your experience growing up in
Paul and Buddhist cultural mysticism, and then of course the magic of symbols, which I just talked about in Sedona. So yep,
absolutely epic.
You can find it at lulu.com or at my site megalithic.mysteries.com. I will be speaking again in Las Vegas in September, and then again with Walter Bosley in November. So
I hope to be at that November one, and I'm gonna have to crowdsource it. So everybody, I've got my ticket covered now. I got the hotel covered for Teslatech. My passport in works. So I should be there, but I don't have a job. I'm broke. I'm working on my presentation. So if you can help me in any way, donate, help crowdsource funds, just promote. Like, I can't pay to beat, like, Mr. Beast with his slop, paying YouTube to fucking spam the algorithm. So we have to overcome, right? I can't, not going to waste money on that I don't have on advertising. So we need you to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification, make clips of this, and send it to those you think will be.
CryptoAlchemist.com and I guess
I don't have no CryptoAlchemist.com. It was burncon.com, but that's story again for another day. Happy 4th of July. Happy Hangover America. Happy 5th of July. Calgary's the Stampede this week. It's
right.
job with that. No, I had to get Stampede job this week. I'm leaving for Teslatech in 2 days. Shit. Good thing I got my presentation done. But yeah. What is my mail address? Like my home mail or my email? I'll put my email in, and then you can email me, and then I will send you my home address. But I'm heading to Utah in 1 week's time. 1 week and 2 days, I will be in Utah because I am also going to Moon Lake Gathering in Utah, Moon Lake, with the Terry Carter meetup of the treasure hunters and the folks that have found a lot of gold bars and a lot of giant bones and had the feds come and take them on them a few times. And Yeah, so I know. So I'm coming by your home. So that's what I'm saying. Is what we need to help you. Yeah, so email me and I will send you my home address. I just don't post my home address openly in the live chat. So here's my email, Jacob Law. You can email me and then I will send you my home address from there. Because, well, there's lots of creeps sometimes creeping in the shadows with nefarious purposes. But right, what am I doing? I know what I'm doing. We're doing that. We're doing this. We're doing a brief commercial, and I will be right back.
You crazy mother. Yeah.
It's just burning! Burning just like last week, huh?
Weekend at Bernie's.
All right, we got Weekend at Bernie's. It's the weekend. You're tuning in with Bernie from Bernie's. Thus, it can't get more Weekend at Bernie's than what you got right now. So here we're showing absolute red state. So this is extreme hydride molecule density, so the highest composition, and what the alchemists say is the mercurial state, mercury state of transmutational metals. I'm not saying that it transmutated to mercury. No. This is copper with a lot of hydrogens and possibly hydrogen isotope in the red state. And then you have the pink crystalline state of the metal itself. And of course, the blue oxidized state. And that's the key. All right, now look at the sparkles. Okay, look at the crystallized. That's silver in the pink state sparkling. And then copper in the back sparkling, also pink. And then you got some gold down there. It's also pink in the red states. Okay, sparkling away. And then we got some more copper sparkling away because it is in a crystalline state. It's actual crystals actually sparkling because that's what they are. They're crystals. Okay? Okay. Now I'm going to show something that I suspect to be even more. This one might get me in trouble. But those are black crystals. After denser than the red state, you get actual black crystals forming that are actually potentially crystallized hydrogen isotopes growing. Yeah, these sparkle. They're actual crystals. And that's from the dense red, then forming over time into the black crystals from the pink. And they were bubbles. Then they formed into crystals. And then we got the purple ones that seal it. That's also very, very interesting, unique properties of these materials that can only be a combination of copper, hydrogen, oxygen, and the salt, but that's not the salt. That is not salt. All right. So we showed that. What else? What other secrets are we documenting and showing before we go? All right, so we got several different aerogels in here. A couple that
are oxidized off of iron, thus they're orange, but the aluminum and the silver in there are clear. And these are aerogels confirmed by whistleblower. Shout out Joshua Bertrand. Came on 2.5 years ago, maybe 3 years ago now, actually, with me and Jeremy Reese, where he was whistleblowing about the plasma orb craft. And this was literally right before Ashton Forbes came out. Joshua Bertrand came, and he gave us the patents for the Chinese plasma orbs that are drones that are based off of these aerogels. And I showed him the aerogels that I made, and he was like, "Oh my God, Bernie, you're the first person to publicly demonstrate making that. There's only one other company that's also in Canada that it's a logging company," he was saying, that figured out a way accidentally to make zinc aerogel, and it's out of like their wood treatment processing. Yet here I am able to do it electrically, very easily, and out of multiple different pure metal elements, because I am Bernard, the immortal electrochemist. Got some red state, pink state, white state, but not monatomic, so that's what they call the calcium state. Also, again, not saying it's transmutated into calcium. If anything, it's super acidic and probably hydrogen heavy in that white decay state. But I suspect if you add calcium into that decay reaction, you'll actually get some nuclear fusion. But I can't fully take claim for that because it's based off of what Bob Grenier was talking about on using calcium as a potential atom in several nuclear reactions, and it just clicked. It made perfect sense, and that is why I proposed that, as well as sulfur for the yellow sulfur groups, and mercury added to the red hydrogen state. Might get some really good things happening out of it. All right. So I'm going to end the streams for the second stream, okay, that says just the electrolysis stuff. That's now ending, but you can go over to the 24-hour stream. I'm going to play one more video on it, and then I'm going to end it all, because this guy right here, this guy needs to crash and get some sleep, not crash and crash out. So, on that note, we'll play the next video.
It's shit. It's already. I don't know. Anyways, ta-ta, y'all. Much love.
Peace
Until
out.
Wednesday.
You crazy mother. Yeah.
It's just Bernie! Bernie just like last week, huh?
Weekend at Bernie's.